Hey guys, welcome back. So we have so far seen the game pretty much doing what we need, except we just need to add some spices, which is like animation. And of course, you need to tell me how was your experience developing it. So let's go and quickly add animations. But before that, let me tell you there are many ways of adding animation. Of course, React provides it too. But the way I'm going to use it a little different because I want to showcase you how easy it is just by adding some classes. You can make and animate things very easily. So let me quickly show you that animate.css. So if you go to this URL, of course, I'll share it in the resources. You can go and see animate.css and you can try and play with various animations. It is a CSS file that you just add onto your projects and everything works. Now you don't even have to copy or download it because unless you're modifying it, I usually prefer going to CDN.js and picking up our, the animate CSS file or probably any other plugins that I usually use in a minified format. I don't intend to update them. And of course, it will be a great idea to serve them from a secondary host. And that way, my website is not impacted by the loading process because even if I have a lot of files, loading files from CDN will help in two different ways. One, it is faster. Two, it has many different locations around the world. So depending on the location of your user, it can load it from the closest CDN server that is possible. So it definitely expedites things. Now the first thing we'll do is copy this. Now once you copy this, you can go to index.html and just the way you have the link URL, you can create another link URL and pass in the URL that you have, which is this one. So your style sheet should get loaded. Let's save this. Once we save it, let's go to our application, refresh it, everything should be fine. And the way you can add a class or a CSS is very easy. So here you have your app.js, your quiz.js. In the quiz.js, you have these blocks coming in, which is coming from the render options, which is quiz options. Now in the quiz options, when you render the fields, the way you can add the classes just by adding a class called animated. And let's say we call it zoom in. So out of the many animations that it provides, I will pick up the zoom in animation because I like it a lot. So zoom in. Okay. So now what I'll do is I'll save this. Let's refresh the screen and see. You can see everything got animated whenever the options load. So whenever I click something, it comes up directly. I can change that too. So when I go to quiz and when my after class loads, which is render class name after, whenever it is hidden, that's fine. We can do anything that we want to. But whenever wrong or correct shows up, what we can do is along with this, we can add animated zoom in down. And now what will happen is along with wrong and correct, it will add those classes to it. Let's see what happens. Let's refresh the screen. Options come up. Let's select one and you can see the animations. We click again, click something, animation. You see that? So I just added two quick animations. Of course, you can animate as much as you want. There's no limit to it, but make sure it doesn't get annoying after a point of time. So just make sure of it and you can add as many animations as you want. And now I'll quickly delete these two. So my game is finalized. Let's save this and this completes the game. I hope you had a very good experience learning this game based off React. All we did was use our React application, added some random logic which was plain JavaScript and coded a game live for the user to see it. Now in the future lectures when I do the other example, I will also teach you on how to deploy this app onto Heroku. So stay tuned and you can definitely deploy this game. I just did not want this game to have tens of versions, which was just an edition game to be sitting on Heroku servers. So that's why I'm not teaching you out here. Now, one thing to note, out of this, I'm going to give you a small assignment. So the assignment is very simple. Based off what you have seen, I request you to create another game and I've already created this. And this was a suggestion from, my daughter who had, chances of learning ABCDs as she was growing. So she wanted to learn something. So what I did was I ended up creating a game for her so that she's comfortable in creating and learning things. Now I did everything by myself after I did my game. So you can see the screen looks very simple, very neat. All it's doing is it's having a letter displayed, the sound with it. So I'll provide you with a JSON file which will have the sound, which will have the images. So let's say when I click something, apple comes in and then you spell it. So I'll share the JSON file with everything. All you need to do is put it to use. Make sure you're using a React application or React Basics to have it coded. The other thing that you can do is you can go next.
B, banana, banana. C, cat. cat,
And that's my voice too. Now, the other thing I added was play again. So because my daughter doesn't understand or get it in one time, I gave her an
cat,
option to
cat, cat,
repeat things.
D, D, D,
And that's not me saying, that's the tone of the game. And you can also go previous.
C, B, A, Z,
And in circular, which means after A, it should go back to Z.
Y, X,
And so on and so forth. Similarly, after Z, it should go back to
Y, Z, zebra, A,
A. So after Z, it should go to A. Now, sound may be annoying because my wife likes to play a game with her where she shows her some letters and she has to guess the letter. So this becomes very boring because she doesn't get it. It's all A, B, C, D, it's in the order. So I added a random feature too, which means after this, everything will be in randomness, which means there's a random order, just the way we created our A to Z game or our numbers game, there'll be a randomness added to the game as well. So E, and then after E, she can go to F, and then we ask her what is F. So that's the game we designed for her. So it's a very, very simple game, of course, based off what we have already created. You can see the styling is also same. So I'll share three things with you. One is the styling. Two is the JSON file, because the JSON file has URL for the sound as well as JSON file has the URL for the images. So you'll share that. And the third thing is, of course, the screenshot, so that you can see what game I'm expecting and mostly the URL. So you can go and play it yourself, learn what I'm doing, and you can do it yourself. Now, of course, if you don't get it, it's okay, because the next few lectures I'll be explaining how I created this game, so that if you have done it, you can pat on your back. But if you haven't or you had difficulty in doing it, we do it together. Okay, so this is a homework for you. So make sure you do it, and I'll see you in the next class.